Hello and welcome back to Fandom Fridays, where we proceed to check out all the pony fics that are not pony related. Why? Well, because right now I'm thankful for Hasbro. You might be wondering why. Well, I just read the news yesterday. Side to Hedgehog comic, a long-running series that I've been a huge fan of, has ended after a several issue long hiatus due to legal troubles, caused not only by Archie being idiots, but also because of Sega being idiots. But it also has a lot to do with the old writer and artist, Ken Penders, who is trying to create his own misbegotten piece of direct known as the Lara Sue Chronicles. And this is not just me fanboy raising. I have seen the art, I have seen the designs, and I have seen better art from the pony community. That's not an insult to the pony community. I've actually seen better art in the pony community. I can't tell you how ticked I am at all this. But I'm not gonna let it ruin all my days. And you fans who are listening, who are big Sonic fans, shouldn't let it ruin yours either. Because, remember, just because the comic and official material has ended, doesn't mean your fanboyism should. You can still create fan art. You can still write stories. You can still create adventures on your own and say that the things that have happened in this series didn't happen the way they said it, and they can continue on the way you did. You can continue writing and saying all the adventures you want. Did Scourge ever become truly evil? Go ahead. Sonic and Sally getting married and having a son? Alright. This is your creativity. This is why, while I'm sad for all the artists and creators, I'm not gonna let it get to me too much. Because I can always go online and onto Amazon and pick up the side collections that were released for a time. The Sonic Classics graphic novels have all sorts of issues. I can find those. And I can still go to Mile High Comics and get that. Yeah, I may get a good long box going of all my side comics. But about fanfics, as I've always pointed out, and I've always postulated this theory, fanfics are a way to keep a show and a fandom thriving. As such, let's check out a good Sonic fanfic from old. With now Bernie Robert Brown and Francis Tolbert's little collection of Sonic stories. As we here at Terryberry Memorial Library are proud to present New Beginnings by Robert Brown, Francis Tolbert, and Kelly Mole. Let's begin. New Beginnings by Robert Brown, Francis Tolbert, and Kelly Mole. Oh, aren't we special? Author's note. Now you gotta go multiple paragraphs. Nydia woke up with a smile on her face. But then, she always had a smile on her face when she held Donovan throughout the night. She opened her eyes and looked at Donovan, and her smile changed to a frown. When the look on his face, the same look he had had since Sonic defeated Robotnik, Robotnik had slipped away. It was apparent he had not slept well. Nydia sighed quietly, slipping her arms from around Donovan as she sat up. She pulled on her robe and stood on the bed. I wish there was more I could do for him, she thought, once Donovan's sleep grew more restless. Wish there was more that he'd let me do for him. Someone is approaching at a high rate of speed, the computer said in an undertone, as did not awake Donovan. Who is it? Nadia asked quietly. It appears to be Sandra, but I can't be quite sure. How can you not be sure? You'll see, the computer said with what could be a snarking voice. She's nearing the door, now. Nydia slipped out of the bedroom and made her way to the door. Just as Sandra was about to knock, Nydia opened the door. What brings you here this early, Sandra? Nydia asked, blinking the last of her sleep from her eyes. Isn't it obvious? Sandra asked, a hint of annoyance in her voice. Nadia looked at Sandra, then did a double take. She was wearing a pink dress dress and gloves, and Nadia knew it could only mean one thing. It's today? Yeah, and both Sally and Bummy have asked, no, demanded that you two be there. The ceremony starts in 2 hours. Please don't be late, or you're going to have two very angry brides coming here to drag you to Sanctuary. Sanctuary? But I thought it would be held in Mobitropolis. Nah, the reception will still be there, but after all that's happened, they want to finish what they started where they started it. Nadia smiled and shook her head. We'll be there, she promised. Now, get out of here so I can wake him up. All right, Sandra grumbled. But remember, you only have 2 hours to get there. Sandra, I'm surprised at you, Nadia said, in a smile on her face and in her voice. All I'm going to do is wake him up. Uh-huh, sure. Next thing you'll tell me is that you don't plan on marrying him, Sandra joked, shaking her head. Anyway, I just be getting back. Both Sally and Bunny are freaking out. Everything okay? Nadia asked, concerned. Pretty much, only Rosie's nowhere to be found. See you later, Nadia! Sandra took off in a bright pink blur before Nadia could ask any more questions. Nadia closed the door and went back to the bedroom. Donovan was still asleep with that look upon his face. Nadia slipped into the bed next to him and tickled his ear. Donovan grumbled in his sleep and batted her hand. Nadia arched one eyebrow to kiss him lightly on the lips. Not tonight, Donovan grumbled. I'm not in the mood. Then he turned on his side and waited for Nadia. Oh, really? Nadia muttered. She rolled out of bed and grabbed hold of the mattress. Time to wake up! She yelled, dumping him on the mattress on the floor. I didn't know you wanted me up so bad, Donovan groaned, not moving from how he landed. It's not me, Nadia said, pulling on the mattress on the bed. Our presence has been requested at Sanctuary. By Tennis? Donovan asked, starting to get up. Nope, by a princess. Or should I say, the princess who will be queen by day's end. Coronation? Donovan asked, dusting himself off. After the weddings, Nadia said. We've got less than 2 hours to get ready, and according to Sandra, if we're not there, those two brides will come here and drag us there. They've waited over a year to get married, Donovan pointed out, rubbing the sleep from his eyes. I doubt they take the time out to walk here and drag us here. Do you want to chance it? Donovan shot Nadia a look and said, What kind of question is that? Aloud, he said, Besides, I have work to do. Nadia stood in the doorway, barring his way. Whatever it is, it can and will wait, she said. Like you said, this day has been over a year in the making. This is all for the more reason for me to do what I have to make sure it's not interrupted, like last year. Nadia sighed in exasperation. Donovan, I'm not arguing about this. You have a choice. Go take a shower, get ready to go, or get knocked unconscious while I do it for you. 3 reasons why you won't do that. 1, I won't let you. 2, I'm not worthy enough to go. 3, if you manage to do it, which you won't, we don't exactly have anything to wear. Nadia's eyes grew hard as she stared at Donovan. First of all, you don't let me do anything. Second, I don't ever want to hear you say that again. The squirrel I love is one of the worthiest creatures on this whole planet. Even after failing to keep his word, Donovan interrupted, and in doing so may have cost Mobius its freedom someday in the future. Who says you didn't keep your word? I see it's just delayed. You'll get another chance, and next time you'll be ready. Donovan turned his good eye on Nadia, considering her words. Very well, I'll accept that. Just hope it's not too late. The future comes when it comes, Donovan. We can't control it. We just have to be ready. Now, go shower. What about the third? What about it? Nadia asked with a mysterious smile. Black vest and boots is not exactly the proper attire for a wedding, Donovan said quietly. Neither are black sweats. Nadia said nothing more, just smiling that mysterious smile of hers. She moved out of the doorway and started showing him towards the bathroom. Donovan sighed and went to take a shower. When he was done, he walked back to the room. On the bed lay his white uniform, the same one he had worn when he went into battle against Kavanaugh. Though it was pretty torn up that day, it looked good as new. What the? Donovan whispered, walking to the bed and picking up his uniform. A note fell from the pocket. Donovan caught it before he hit the bed and read it. The note read, I figure you might need this today. Rosie. P.S. I had that nice little unicorn from Canterlot Boutique, for Carousel Boutique, make it for you. She said free of charge. Love, Rosie. Dolphin smiled a half smile. Hello, Liz again, he said, shaking his head. He got dressed and found it fit him perfectly. Now I just have to worry about what Nadia's going to wear, he said. No, you don't. Nadia said behind him. Donovan turned to look at her and caught his breath. Nadia was wearing a gray dress that closely matched her fur. It was off the shoulder and fell straight down to her knees. Her blonde hair was freshly brushed and tied with a gray ribbon the same color as her dress. She had just a touch of makeup, not really noticeable unless you were looking for it. So, what do you think? She asked, doing a slow turn for Donovan. Guys, did I really want to say that my old Vic Sonic Race for the Emeralds was better than this? I was 13 and I was stupid. Donovan walked up to her and took her hand in his. He brought it up to his lips and kissed it gently. I never thought I'd say this, he said softly, but you look more beautiful now than when I first saw you as a squirrel. Nadia blushed and smiled. You've turned into a real charmer, you know that? She chuckled a moment, then cleared her throat. We really should be going. Mrs. Donovan and Nadia were leaving their hut. Sally and Bunny were in their royal chambers at the palace of the Movatropolis. Where is she? Sally asked for the 100th time, her face a mask of frustration. Bunny sighed loudly, her expression not far from Sally's. I don't know, Sally girl, but she better show up soon. I don't feel like being late to my own wedding, especially seeing how long it took us to get here. Exactly my thoughts, Sally said, adjusting her bathrobe. At the sound of the door opening, Sally turned to see who was coming in. But then when she saw it wasn't Rosie, the frustration returned. Oh, hi, Patricia, she muttered. Is there any way to greet your soon-to-be mother-in-law? Patricia asked with a smile, dragging in a bag behind her. Especially one who's going to help you get ready for your wedding. Sally and Bunny were surprised. You? Bunny asked. But we were thinking it was going to be Rosie, just like last time. That's what I thought too, Patricia confessed, until she came to me earlier and asked me to take care of it. She said something really important had came up. A bit of worry opened up in Sally's stomach. That was nothing serious. It probably is, from the way she was talking, Patricia said. But whatever it is, she said she could handle it, and I believe her. Now, let's get you two ready. Sally and Bunny slowly nodded, and let Patricia go about her business. They exchanged a look, each reading the other's thoughts. This doesn't feel right, they were both thinking. It should be Rosie doing this. What could have been so important to keep her from this? Meanwhile, Tails, Sonic, and Antoine were waiting outside Sanctuary. You should be here soon, Tails said. After all the waiting, you guys are finally going to go through with it. You can say that again, little bro, Sonic said, smiling. He seemed calm at ease, sure of himself. Too bad the same couldn't be said for Antoine. But perhaps I should be checking on some things, Antoine stammered, smoothing out his tuxedo jacket, Frank's accent returning with a force. Why so nervous, Aunt? Tails joked, nudging him in the ribs. I thought you'd be anxious to make Bunny your wife. You are quite right, Antoine said, wiping his brow. But I am quite worried about tonight, especially with what Bunny has been promising me. With complete seriousness, Antoine added, I am hoping I will be able to survive it. Sonic and Tails were about to laugh. Then remembering that Bunny could still turn partly robotic, they stiffened and winced. Don't worry about it, Sonic said, clearing his tone. I'm sure she'll be careful. If worse comes to worse, I'm sure Thomas can heal you, Tails said with a nervous chuckle. Is someone in need of healing? A quiet voice asked. They turned to look and saw Lynx dressed in the robes of a holy one standing nearby. Who are you? I am Torior Lee Onati, the Lynx answered, an accent similar to Antoine's in his voice. I will be presiding over the ceremony today. May I presume that you are the grooms and the best man? Presiding? Sonic asked, surprised. I thought Tanis would be doing that. Torier smirked slightly, sending ripples through his gray robes. He has his reasons why he may not. Reasons I might add, I am not at liberty to discuss with anyone. If you all will excuse me, I will see you inside. Sonic, Tails, and Antoine nodded absently as Torier headed inside. I have a bad feeling about this. Sonic muttered, shaking his head. Something's not right. It's not like anything can happen inside Sanctuary, Tails said, though his voice lacked a certain conviction. Stop being such a worrying word. If you say so, little bro, Sonic said, not sounding convinced. If you say so. Back at the royal chambers, Patricia just finished putting the final touches on Sally and Bunny when there was a knock at the door. Don't either of you move, Patricia said, heading to the door. She opened it and caught her breath. Sally, there's someone here to see you. Sally stood up and turned around as Patricia moved away from the doorway. Her eyes widened when she saw who was standing there. Daddy! She said, smiling.
Hello, Sally.
King Acorn said, walking into the room.
I can't stay long because you have a wedding to get to, but there's something I wanted to tell you.
Sabbath leaving? Bunny asked, standing up as well.
No need,
King Acorn answered.
I wanted to tell you both how happy I am for you, and goodbye.
Goodbye, Sally said slowly. But, Daddy...
No buts, Sally. I've made up my mind. You and your friends have done what I only could dream of. You restored our planet. I will not be out of place in the times to come, especially with you as queen.
But where will you go?
We have a mission on our own, Your Majesty,
Naga said, entering the room. Tanis has taken our evil from us. Though Robotnik is gone, there is much evil left in this world. You cannot fight it because your place is here. We have no such place.
Something big is coming, Sally,
King Acorn continued.
If Nagas and I work fast, we may be able to head it off, whatever it is. I know the kingdom and planet will be in good hands.
Will you at least stay for the wedding? Sally asked quietly.
Of course. How could I miss the biggest day of my being's life?
Sally smiled, but it was a sad smile. All right, Daddy. Please keep in touch, though.
As you wish, Your Majesty.
King Acorn said with a bow.
Now, I will leave you to finish your preparations.
Before Sally could say anything, her father turned and left with Nagas in tow. Sally wiped a tear from her eye as the door closed. I guess it's for the best, she said for no one in particular. And yet, I don't want to see him go. It'll be okay, Sally girl, Bunny said, giving her best friend a hug. Careful not to mess up the makeup. Come on, we got a wedding to go to. In Sanctuary, Antoine had almost placed a rat in the ground when Morris came out.
They're on their way,
he said, shifting a squirming Killing in his arms.
You boys away inside. Remember, no seeing the bride till the ceremony.
Thanks, Dad, Sonic said, grabbing Antoine by the back of his jacket and dragging him aside. Tails followed close behind, but Morris had to run after Kelly Min, who managed to get to the ground and was half crawling, half frequently to the nearest mud puddle. Meanwhile, on the floating island, two kidnappers sat in the Emerald Chamber, watching the proceedings. Lay on this, Knuckles said, gloved hands clasped in his lap. It looks like this time the ceremony won't be interrupted, not by me at least. The other kidnapper smiled and sat down on Knuckles' lap. That reminds me, she said, brushing her braided locks from her face. Well, we're going to talk about our ceremony. Knuckles smiled back. All in due time, Judy, he said, kissing her cheek. All in due time, my love. Oh, by the way, you guys didn't see it, but the moment I messaged Julie Sue, Ken Penders' lawyers came in and tried to attack. But luckily, I had that lawyer guy from a few issues back. You remember, the guy who tried to stop me from reading a certain fic, and now he's beating the tar out of them. See, apparently he's somebody from Remnant. Sometime later, Sally and Bunny were waiting patiently outside Sanctuary's doors, listening for the music that would signal their entrances. Are you ready, Bunny? Sally whispered, nearly shaking with nervousness and excitement. I'll been ready for a year now, Sally girl, Bunny said, nearly rigging her bouquet of flowers in half. In only a few minutes, Uncle will bring Mrs. to collect, and I can't wait. Sally nodded with a reply, but could say no more as he heard the music begin. Let's go, you two, Sandra called, sticking her head out the doors. Sally and Bunny walked in slowly through the doors, each holding a bouquet of flowers in one hand, and clasping the other's hand for support. They walked down the aisle behind Sandra, their steps slow and measured. Sally walked around and saw Lydia, Isabella, and Dorian sitting together on one of the benches. Sally didn't fully like the idea of having her cousin being with Dorian, but she had no reason to doubt his motives. Not anymore. As they continued down the aisle, Sally realized that the Holy One standing before the altar was not Tanis, but some link she had never seen before. First Rosie, now Tanis? She wondered to herself. What is going on here? See in the front row were the families of the brides and grooms, some of them just recently de-roboticized. Uncle Chuck whispered a few words of encouragement to Sonic, while taking his seat beside his brother. Sally smiled behind her veil, and had the strange feeling that Uncle Chuck had to do the same thing when Morris married Patricia. Sandra moved to the side, and both brides went to stand before their husbands-to-be. But the wedding march kept playing, and all of a sudden Sally heard the crowd sanctuary do in its collective breath. Sally turned to see what was wrong, and caught her breath herself. Clad in a simple white dress, holding a bouquet of white roses, looking happier than Sally had ever seen her look, Rosie walked down the aisle of the sanctuary. Though her veil drawn low, Sally could still recognize the face of the one that she loved like a mother, even though they now looked the same age. Out of the corner of her eye, she saw Tanis walk from his room in the back, dressed in the finest robes. They met at the altar and took each other's hands. Donovan looked from Tanis to Rosie, back to Tanis, and again to Rosie. Sonic lifted his hand to his forehead, but Nadia caught his wrist. None of us saw this coming. Everyone here is surprised.
I've got a lot more to learn, Donovan said to himself. Ecides, Torio said warmly. Today we have gathered to join these three couples in wedlock. If anyone has this close to why they should not spend the rest of their lives together, let us speak now or forever hold their peace.
Don't worry, Sally. I've got an elite team of snipers all pointing at the door. Attention! Girly head. Do you have the targets in sight? Why did we agree that was my nickname?
Because it sounds so cute.
A chill ran through Sally. She couldn't help but think that Knuckles was going to appear, just as he did 1 year ago. Many of the others were there had been doing the same, but no one came, and no one spoke. Sally let out a breath. Now he realized she had been holding it until that point. Don't you dare! You're enjoying this, remember? Don't you pull this off!
I won't do the obvious gag, I promise. Marriage is a sacred pact,
Tori continued.
It is the promise, born of love and the desire to be with one you love for the rest of your lives, if not longer. It is a joyous day when a man and a woman wish to make this pact, and today that joy is threefold. Ordinarily, this is the stone when I read the standard vows, and those before me say I do, but this is anything but ordinary. I have been told that they all wish to express their vows in their own way. I bid you all to begin.
Each turned to face their love, a smile in the eyes and faces. Antoine was the first to speak.
My love,
He began.
for years I have tried to keep my feelings for you hidden away from the world, especially from myself. But you never gave up on me. You stood by me, even when it seemed I could be the downfall of everything we were trying to do. Never before have I heard of such love. I doubt I ever will again. My only wish is to stand by your side for all eternity as your husband. My love, Bunny started in a choked voice. I knew I loved you from even before the war began with Robotnik. All I ever wanted to do was to love you and be loved by you. Lay,
We began our lives as husband and wife, and I promise to give you all the love you deserve, if you only don't think you'll do.
My dearest Rosie,
Tannis began softly.
through the grace of the Almighty, we have been given our lives back. I want to spend it with you. Every hour, every minute, every second that we have been given will not mean anything to me if I am not to spend it with you. I swear to you that all the happiness I would have brought to you had we married all those years ago will pale to the happiness that I will bring you now.
Oh, Tannis, Rosie said, I've had this whole speech memorized, but hearing you makes me want to say seem like flat and useless. Let me say this from instead. From this moment on, wherever our lives take us, know that I will always be beside you, and nothing will ever separate us again.
Sally, Sonic said, his voice filled with emotion. Ever since we were children, I knew where I belonged. It wasn't as the fastest thing alive, or the hero of Mobius. It was by your side as your husband. I have not always been able to say this, but you've become a part of me. Not just my heart, but a part of me. My mind, heart, and body and soul are yours, now and forever.
Sonic, Sally said, smiling despite her tears, though I may come to rule Mobius and all the animals who live upon it, I know that I myself am ruled by one. That is one is you, Sonic. My love, my life. We've been through almost everything that life could possibly throw at us, yet we remain strong in our love for each other. Now all of Mobius shall know of our love, as I have become, now and forever, your wife.
Exchange your rings, Torio said. As the six before him did so, he continued, it's the gold in these rings never tarnish, as your love for each other never will. There is nothing more to say, save that I now pronounce you husbands and wives. You may now kiss your brides.
Sonic and Antoine and Tannis lifted the veils of their new wives, kissed them deeply and fully.
Kisses would return with his suds, if not more feeling. But at one moment, all that was for any of them was that kiss.
Tannis and Rosie were the first to break their kiss.
And now, Tannis said quietly, we have one more thing we must take care of.
Sonic and Sally took a slight step back and turned to face Tannis. Sally immediately dropped down to one knee, with Sonic following suit a second later.
Toriel stepped away from the altar as Tannis and Rosie approached.
I almost forgot about this, Sonic whispered to Sally. Are you sure? Don't even start, Sonic.
Sally whispered breathlessly.
There's no one who deserves to be king more than you. You saved us all, and you're my husband now. Now just be quiet and accept it.
Tannis and Rosie stepped out from behind the altar, each holding a crown bearing the symbol of Mobius. As one, they stepped towards the kneeling Sonic and Sally. When they spoke, they also spoke as one.
Sonic, Sally,
for 13 years you have both been
the unrecognized leaders of Mobius.
Today,
we rectify that.
By accepting these crowns,
you accept the duties and responsibilities as King and Queen of Mobius.
Do you accept them?
Sonic and Sally nodded their heads so slightly. Tannis placed the crown he held on Sonic's head, the same one that Sally's father had himself worn. Rosie placed the other crown on Sally's head, the crown that had once been her mother's. Now rise
and greet your subjects.
The new king and queen rose to their feet, turned to face the others. Let all know that the House of Acorn rules Mobius once more, Rosie called in a loud voice. No, Sally said, holding up her hand. I will not make Sonic take my name, or all he has done for this world. Let it be known that from this point on, the ruling family of Mobius is the House of Hedgehog.
Sorry,
King Maximilian Acorn called warningly, standing up. Father! Queen Sally called. It is my right to do so.
But the Covenant.
No one back then could have foreseen what we have all gone through. And even if they had, they would have assumed that the House of Acorn could settle it. We did not. Sonic did. With a new freedom for Mobius comes a new ruling family. Sally turned to Tannis and directed her next question to him. Am I wrong? Tannis closed his eyes and said a quiet prayer. After a moment, he opened his eyes and looked at Sally.
Your decision has the Almighty's blessing,
he said quietly. Sally smiled and turned for her father. The former king bowed his head in acquiescence and said no more. Sally turned to look at everyone else, but no one else had anything to say to her. Applause and cheers filled the sanctuary as everyone realized that the day had been a year in coming had finally come to pass. And even though that paled in comparison to the applause, the tears that sounded through all of Mobius as the door of the sanctuary opened and the newlywed couples emerged into the bright sunlight. They stood there for a moment, letting it all sink in. It's finally over, isn't it? Sally whispered, smiling radiantly. No, Sal. According to the scroll bar, I'm only halfway done.
Where one journey ends, the other begins,
Tannis said quietly.
Yes, Robotnik is gone, but that doesn't mean this is all over.
Hey, no gloomy doom today, Sonic said. We've all been waiting for this. So I say, we forget all that, even if it's just for today. Sounds good to me, Sugar Hulk, Bunny said. Let's get out there and join the party. Wait for anyone else. She grabbed her new husband's hand and dragged him down the stairs. And what a party it was! No one can remember a day when Mobotropolis had been more alive and full of energy. There was more food than anyone had ever seen, including chili dogs for the royal couple, of course. The wedding cake was made about 5 tiers, with each beautifully decorated with personal messages from those who had pitched in. Good luck you too, signed P. Pie. When the time came to cut the cake, Sally and Bunny both warned their men not to make a mess. Reluctantly, they agreed, only have cake stuffed in their faces. Tannis laughed, smiling. When he turned to Rosie, just in time to get cake put in his own face. Calmly wiped it off his face and picked up a piece in his hand.
Ordinarily, you pay for that,
He said, but I don't feel like our wedding reception should degenerate into a food fight. Rosie let out an involuntary sigh as Tannis fed her the cake nicely.
Besides, it was so no one else could hear. I'll save that for afterward.
The reception continued on with a lot of singing, dancing, and general happiness. Donovan, on the other hand, seemed to withdraw more into himself as the day wore on. Nadia tried more than once to drag him away from the wall, which she did, but he always returned to the wall. What is with you? Nadia demanded. You promised you wouldn't dwell on it, remember?
And I'm keeping my promise,
Donovan answered quietly. Then what is it?
Take a look around. What do you see?
I see a lot of animals enjoying themselves, especially the 6 newlyweds.
A lot of animals who were formerly roboticized and currently find themselves face to face with relatives they haven't seen since the coup.
Nadia's face softened as she realized what Donovan meant. Oh, Donovan, I'm sorry, she said.
Donovan just waved it off. So forgive me if I'm a little withdrawn, but today's not a day to worry about me.
Let's just let the couples enjoy the day. Nadia just nodded and leaned against the wall near Donovan. Don't argue. The least I can do is keep you company. Donovan put a finger on Nadia's lips.
Parties like this do not happen very often. So you go out there and enjoy yourself.
Nadia shook her head, but said no more. She stayed quietly by Donovan until the 2 cloaked figures drew near. Nothing could be really determined about the gray cloaked figures, not even if they were male or female, as their hoods were quite drawn low. Donovan tried his best to maintain a neutral face as he addressed the 2 figures.
May I help you?
He asked. The figures looked at each other, then at Donovan.
Don't try to hide your feelings like that.
The one on the left, obviously male, said, You're no good at it. Yes, especially from us. The one on the right, a female, said. Donovan's eyes wide when he heard the voices. Nadia caught the look out of the corner of her eye and turned to him. What? She asked worriedly. What is it?
It may be that he's surprised we're here,
the male said. Then his companion removed their cloaks. Nadia then saw they were squirrels. Or that, she knew who they were. By the Almighty, she whispered. But you're...
Yeah, we are, the male said simply. But you're right. It is by the Almighty.
The Almighty has allowed us a few hours back on Mobius, the female said, to be with our son.
Wow. You see, the Kai really does have all the power.
A tear Front joy slivered in Nadia's eye. She poked Donovan in the ribs. Don't you have anything to say to your parents? She whispered. Donovan looked at the squirrels in front of him for a few seconds, then wrapped his arms around them and hugged them, tears dropping from his eye. By the Almighty, I missed you, he said between his sobs. And we miss you too, Deontay said, hugging his son back, but don't let's spend all this time getting emotional. Unfortunately, her father's right, Nancy said, also hugging her son. We're only here till those brides toss their bouquets. Deontay and Nancy. Donovan! Deontay! Nancy! Seems kind of plain compared to the other two. Nadia smiled and turned away. I'll leave you three alone, she said. Nancy grabbed Nadia's tail, almost without looking. Oh, no, you don't, she said, pulling away from her son's hug. So, how close are you to my son? Nadia turned a deep shade of pink. Mom! Donovan said, covering his face with his hand. Mom me later, Nancy said. Right now, I want to find out as much as I can before I have to leave. She turned back to Nadia, who was just recovering from her blush. So, are you two as close as I think you are? How close would that be? Nadia asked, a new blush starting. Nancy glanced over her son. Close enough for me to ask my son when's he gonna put a ring on your finger, so there'll be little Osoyas running around? Donovan turned as red as Nadia. But even got worse when Nadia said, Actually, I've been wondering that myself. Donovan turned to his father. Dad, help! I was on my own when her mother grilled me, Deontay said calmly, and you're on your own now. Don't look for your wish to get you out of this, Nancy said. It's been disabled for now. Well, Donovan stammered. It's getting hot in here. I think I'll go get some buns. Sounds good to me, Nancy said. Then I can talk to Nadia alone. Donovan stopped in mid-step when his mother said that. He looked at his father pleadingly, but Deontay raised his hands as if to ward the glance off and said, Don't look at me. A couple of hours passed like that. Donovan's parents happily questioning their son and his love. Nadia and Donovan answered the questions as best they could, but were quickly overwhelmed. At the end, all either one could do was stammer out either yes or no. And all that came too soon for Nadia and Donovan. Come on, everyone, Cassandra called. They're getting ready to toss bouquets. Nancy looked at her husband sadly. Where did the time go? She asked, putting her cloak on. Donovan looked at his parents, tears in his eye. Do you really have to go? He asked quietly. I'm afraid so, Deontay said, putting his cloak back on and pulling the hood over his head. We'll be around. Count on it. I will, Donovan whispered. He smiled and put his arm around Nadia as he watched his parents turn and walk away. In moments, they both disappeared from view. Nadia kissed Donovan's cheek slightly. You see, she whispered, the Almighty wouldn't have given you this gift unless you deserved it. Donovan just nodded quietly. Now, excuse me. I have a bouquet to catch. That almost snapped Donovan from his thoughts. Fortunately for Nadia, it didn't. Otherwise, Donovan would have made sure she got nowhere near any of the bouquets. Sally, Bunny, and Rosie were standing in front of a throng of single females, each more eager than the last to catch a bouquet. Just as it is on Earth, traditional Mobius held that whenever a female caught a bouquet, she would be the next to marry. One by one, the three brides turned their backs to the crowd, just so they couldn't aim their friends. Sally threw her bouquet first. Just as it came within reach, a blue and pink blur gravitated for the air. It came to a snap just outside the group. No fair, Sandra! Nydia yelled, all the more quietly. Sandra smirked and turned to Tails. Oh, Miles, she said in a low, salty voice. Uh-oh, Tails said, edging away back from her. Bunny threw her bouquet high up in the air, but it didn't travel very far backward. More than a few ladies fell down trying to catch it, but finally it ended up in the hands of Lydia. Lydia smiled and turned to face Dorian, garnet eyes glaring expectantly. Dorian, she said again, smile creeping across her lips. Dorian swallowed nervously, backed up slowly, glancing around, seeking some avenue of escape. Rosie gave her bouquet a light kiss,
They threw as far back as he could. Just watching, he could have sworn that the bouquet dropped right as it was over Nadia, falling right into her hands. But certainly Rosie wouldn't use her powers like that, would she? Nadia honestly didn't care. She saw Donovan pull out of his thoughts as Tails and Dorian backed up to him. Would you chew? He began angrily. The salt of a case held by Lydia, Sandra, and Nadia. Am I waiting for me? He said, clearing his throat.
Bad idea, Tails said. Gentlemen, scatter!
Donovan and Dorian needed no further urging. All three males took off at a run, heading in three completely different directions. Sandra looked calmly at Nadia and Lydia.
Ladies, shall we? Just try and stop me,
Nadia said, hurrying off with Sandra. Lydia smiled as she saw Isabella prancing around in her new dress Rosie had long been kind enough to make for her. Lydia's eyes moved to the direction Dorian had run off in. She twirled his bouquet in her hand, and her eyes moving to the now married couples. The three of them. Her eyes twinkled at the idea of what be stirring in her mind ever since Dorian came back. Walking over to Rosie, she tapped her shoulder. Sorry she had to interrupt the newlyweds. Rosie stopped dancing with Tanis and looked at Lydia, smiling softly.
Hello, Lydia,
she said quietly.
Do you want to cut in?
I wouldn't dream of it, Mrs. Sheerat. Lydia somewhat teased. Tanis grinned at that, and Rosie blushed slightly.
I was wondering if you wouldn't mind watching Isabella for a while. I hate to disturb you both, but you came to mind first, Rosie.
Lydia said, rather apologetically. But she couldn't take Isabella with her, not with what she had to do. Don't be sorry, Lydia, Tanis said. It'll give us practice. Go and do what you need to do. Rosie blushed a bit more. Lydia chuckled.
Thank you both.
Lydia smiled as Tanis and Rosie resumed dancing. Lydia walked off in the direction Dorian had headed off, but stopped at her short way. Her mind directed to something. She glanced down at her hands, looking at the two rings she wore. Family seal, and Jonathan's engagement ring. Which meant more? She didn't know yet. Dorian was in their hut, searching for something he had hidden the first night he had returned to Knothole. He smiled as he found it. He discovered that Lydia preferred silver to gold, so silver it was. A simple silver band with a garnet stone in the center. Garnet, like her eyes. He left the hut and headed back to the reception, but stopped short when he saw Lydia only a few meters away. Lydia, what are you doing here? Dorian asked sort of abruptly. She had it right, but he just wanted to know.
I was wondering where you went off to,
Lydia whispered. She was glad she had some alone time with him. Dorian smiled. I was going to come back, if that's what worried you. I have no reason to leave anymore, Dorian reassured her, trying to.
Well, that's a relief,
Lydia said, voice fainting a bit. Lydia?
Dorian, will you marry me?
They both asked in unison, feeling the rings they had for the other. Lydia had chosen to give her family seal. They both seemed a bit surprised at their simultaneous question. I didn't expect that, Dorian admitted, chuckling.
I think, in a way, we both did.
Lydia smiled. Well, she asked, a touch of impatience voice in her voice. You honestly don't think I would deny you, Dorian inquired. Lydia's heart sunk. That it hurt. Tears stung her eyes.
Were you thinking of it?
Lydia asked. Voice choke. Dorian, of course, had only been choking, but her tears showed him how serious she was. His regret was immediate. No, I was joking. I did think you would take it so seriously. Marion braced her.
The last man I was engaged to died, remember?
Lydia whispered.
I have to be serious about it. I don't want you to die, too.
This wasn't as going as she planned. I should have realized, but it doesn't matter. I'll be here, Lydia, for eternity. You have my word. And yes, Princess Lydia Evergreen, I will marry you. Dorian felt a little odd saying this, but he would. Lydia smiled through her tears.
Well then, yes, Dorian Lexford, I will marry you.
She whispered as she exchanged rings. They just held each other, their minds mingling with many emotions, but they were content to hold each other. Suddenly, someone tugged at Lydia's dress. She looked down to see Isabella, who appeared out of nowhere.
Mommy, why did you go off?
Isabella asked,
breaking the silence.
I'll tell you later,
Lydia said, picking her daughter up.
but I want the others to hear it too. Let's head back.
As all this was happening, Tails was flying through Metropolis, dodging down every side street he could to avoid Sandra. It wasn't that he didn't want to get engaged, he just wasn't ready for it. In other words, he had no ring for her, and he did not want to ask without it. As he flew, he realized that he had gotten horribly lost. Things looked so different from when the city had been dark and metallic. But somehow, he felt drawn to a certain street, found himself stopping at a certain door. Knowing Sandra was close behind, he opened the door, ran inside, and slammed it shut behind him. In the dim light of the house, Tails could make out two very startled adult foxes, sitting at a table and eating light lunch.
Oh, I'm sorry,
He began, but found his voice trailing off. Even though the light was dim, he could plainly see that one of the foxes had two tails.
By the Almighty.
The one with two tails, a female, whispered,
Is it possible?
Miles?
The other, a male, asked, voice breaking.
Who are
Tails began, but then it hit him.
Mom? Dad?
The female raised her hand to her face. Tails could see tears coming in her eyes.
My baby!
She whispered, then ran to Tails and hugged him tight.
Mom!
Tails yelled, and ruddy air was squeezed from his lungs by his mother's hug.
Can you breathe?
Tails whispered, as loud as he could. Oh, sorry. Let me take a look at you, his mother said, stepping back. You grow into a fine figure of a fox, Miles.
Please, Mom, call me Tails. I never liked that name.
Didn't like your own father's name?
The male asked, still sitting at the table. Tails blushed a bright red.
I didn't know I was a junior,
He muttered.
It's all right. I didn't like it either,
His father said, smiling.
Come on,
His mother said, dragging Tails towards the table. I want to know everything about you and what you've been doing.
Lorelei, leave the boy alone, Miles Sr. said. He's not over the shock of finding us yet. I'm sure he has just as many questions for us.
All right, Lorelei said, sitting Tails down in a chair. Miles Sr., Lorelei. One of these things isn't like the other. Tails down in the chair. You can ask us whatever you want, but once we answer, we want the same for you.
fair enough, Tails said cautiously. Just want to know why I have two tails.
That's a long story, Lorelei said. The gist of it is this. One of our ancestors, don't remember his name, was in an accident and his tail was split in half lengthwise. He went to a holy one to have it heal, but the spell was cast wrong and each had formed in a separate tail. Since then, at least one of our generations had a double tail.
Oh my god!
That healing spell messed up so badly it became genetic! It messed up the fairy genetics! And it's obviously a skippable recessive? Is there a geneticist in the house to describe the type of gene that skips a generation?
All I know is that it's a weak on recessive genes. Oh, shut up, Liquid!
Makes sense,
Tails admitted.
but that doesn't explain how I can fly.
Fly? Lily asked, surprised.
Yeah, what?
Tails flew out to the roof of the house, then back down.
Amazing, Miles Sr. breathed. I didn't know you could do that, dear.
I can't, Lorelei said quietly. Nor can any of my ancestors. I think our son is the first one who has even attempted it.
There you are!
Sandra yelled, spying Tails through a window.
Uh-oh!
Tails muttered, thinking about running, but knowing it was futile.
Did you really think I was going to let you get away from me, Miles?
Sandra demanded, barging in the front door. Kiss today, no matters, Lorelei murmured, but not low enough to escape Sandra's attention.
Oh, pardon me,
Sandra said, looking down her pink dress. I didn't mean to barge in like that. I was just trying to track down Miles here.
Sandra!
Tails almost whined.
Will you insist on calling me by my name?
Sandra walked over to Tails and kissed him lightly.
Because I can.
She said, smiling. Does he think he's to introduce all of us, son? Lorelei asked.
Son?
Sandra half whispered.
You mean you're...
At Lorelei's nod, Sandra blushed a furious red.
I mean, I didn't think... Will's help me out here. Oh no, you're doing a great job digging your own hole.
Teal smirked.
And I'm not gonna bail you out of this one.
Don't make me make this a royal order, Sandra threatened, and was immediately sorry she did.
Royal?
Lorelei asked disbelievingly.
Just who are you anyway?
I am Princess Sandra of the House of Acorn, second in line to the throne. That is, until my newly married sister has kids, which shouldn't take too long.
Just how close are you to our son? Mal asked.
Sandra smiled at the bouquet and carried with her. Well, this is a bouquet I caught as any indication. Your son should be asking me a certain question soon.
You know I don't have a ring for you yet, Sandra,
Tails exclaimed. Is that all? Lorelei asked. She disappeared to the back room for a moment. When she emerged, she held a small pouch in her hand.
Here you go,
she said, handing it to her son. Tails opened up the pouch. Inside were 3 rings. 2 were plain gold bands, save for the image of 2 entwined tails and wheat. The third was a platinum band, set with a small but flawless diamond.
What are these?
Tails asked. They belong to your grandparents, Lorelei said gently. When I found out I was pregnant, they gave them for me when you found someone. Tails looked down for a moment, then looked up. His eyes were bright with tears. He walked quietly over to Sandra, dropped into one knee.
Princess Sandra Acorn?
He spoke quietly, with great feeling.
Would you do the immense honor of becoming my wife?
He took the platinum ring from the pouch and slipped it on Sandra's finger.
Will you?
Sandra's lips quivered as she tried to smile. As if you even need to ask, she whispered. She fell to her knees in front of him and kissed him full on the lips, but softly. He stayed there for a few moments, then looked at his parents.
Looks like I should get to know my future in-laws,
Sandra said with a small smile.
Meanwhile, see what last. Ow, that hurt.
Donovan had decided to seek the refuge inside Sanctuary, of all places. He slid down at the doors and leaned back against them, hoping that he wouldn't find him there. As for Tails, was that he didn't want to ask. He just didn't have a ring. Donovan sighed. With all the rebuilding that needed to be done, both the buildings and the economy, he knew it would be years before a remotely suitable engagement ring would become available, assuming he would have the money for it. Even worse, he knew he and Nadia couldn't wait that long. I need time to think, he muttered, heading back towards his old room. When he opened the door, just as he left it. He didn't taste it yet, he thought. Guess he's just sentimental. Not that that's a surprise. A small smile touched his lips, waiting until he has to. Donovan sat down on the bed, looking right back up when he sat on something hard. Huh? He asked, looking at the bulbs under his covers. What's this? He wondered, lifting the covers. A box sat in the center of the bed, with a note tacked to the top. Donovan tore the note off and looked at it. Your mother thought you might need this today, he read. She left it when she left you with me. I can guarantee you she's watching you right now, with her blessing. Tanis. Donovan looked down at the box, and then at the note, then back at the box. Is this what I think it is? He asked gently. Suddenly, Donovan got the feeling of being tugged, the same feeling that was the last memory of his mom before she died. I love you, Mommy, he whispered, a tear creeping up from his eye. Wow! All the emotion of that scene! All the beauty of this character having to deal with the face that his mother left him one last gift, completely unruined by the fact that he said Mommy during it! He picked up the box just as Nadia threw open the door to his room.
I thought you might be here, she said. What's that in your hand?
Donovan took a deep breath. I better do this before I faint, he said to himself. He walked over to Nadia and opened the box. He took a golden ring out of the box, looking very nervous as he dropped to one knee. He dropped the box and took hold of Nadia's left hand. Nadia? He managed to stammer out before his voice failed him. Nadia smiled knowingly.
Donovan,
She whispered, a tear of joy falling from her eyes. If you're trying to ask what I think you're trying to, there's no need, because you already know my answer. Donovan smiled up at Nadia, grateful to her that she spared him this. He slid a golden ring set with a black beryl on her finger. Nadia pulled him up to his feet and kissed him with all her heart. Donovan returned the kiss in kind, but stopped before he could go any further. As much as I really love to, this isn't the place for it, he said quickly. Nadia seemed about to argue the point, but held her tongue until a small warning rumble shook sanctuary. I guess you're right, she said, taking Donovan's hand in hers. Come on, we gotta tell the others. Donovan smiled to himself. He knew, as the other two who proposed that day, that life was just going to be a little bit different, and a lot better. Back at the party, Sally was looking for her sister. It was almost time for the newlyweds to leave on their honeymoons. Sally knew Sandra would want to be at the very beginning of the line of the animals, wishing them all farewell and good luck.
Sis!
Sandra yelled, running into Sally and almost crushing her with a powerful hug.
Oh, Sandra, can't breathe here.
Sally squeaked out, sounding as much as Tails did earlier when being hugged by his mom.
Oh, sorry. You never guess what's happened.
Sandra released her sister and held up her left hand.
We're getting married.
Sally's eyes narrowed. Don't you think you're a little young to be getting married?
Did I say it right this minute? But this just proves we're going to, when we're ready.
Sally relaxed and smiled. I'm happy for you, Sandra, she said, taking a closer look at her sister's engagement ring.
But where did Tails get this ring?
From us, a quiet voice said. Sally looked up and saw Tails standing behind Sandra with the other two foxes. But what surprised Sally the most was that one had two tails. The two foxes walked up to Sally and dropped to one knee. Lorelei power at your service, my queen. One with two tails said, Miles per hour, also at your service, your majesty. The other said,
Then you are.
She trailed off as she saw Tails nodding.
Oh, Tails, I'm so happy for you. I know how much this must mean to you. Thanks, Aunt Sally,
Tails said, sounding like a little he used to before he went into the void. What's going on, Sal? Sonic asked, hugging his beautiful bride from behind.
Sonic, I want you to meet Tails' parents,
Sally said quietly. Are you serious? Sally's nod. He gave Tails a thumbs up. Way to go, Tails. I always knew you'd find him someday. But just because you have your real family doesn't mean you're not my little brother anymore. You got that?
I wouldn't have it any other way, Sonic, Tails said, wiping a tear from his eye. Or should I say, Your Majesty?
Sonic rolled his eyes. Don't start, he began, but Sally's kiss come off. I wonder if there's going to be any more surprises. As if on cue, Nadia and Donovan joined the group.
Guess what?
Nadia called, waving to them as they got closer.
You too?
Sandra exclaimed happily.
No way,
Nadia said, hugging Sandra.
Do you have any chance?
Tails whispered to Donovan in an undertone. What do you think? Donovan answered in the same voice.
Tails sighed. Well, maybe Dorian got away. I may not like him, but today's not a good day to have a girlfriend who have a bouquet.
Donovan nodded, sighed to himself. Think again, he said, gesturing towards Dorian, who both Lydia and Isabel were dragging towards their group.
Dorian's gonna be my daddy!
Isabella yelled, hugging Dorian's leg happily. Sally smiled at the three newly engaged couples. I'm happy for all of you, truly. Looks like there's gonna be more wedding plans coming up. Oh, good, you're all back, Bunny says. He walked up to him. Come on, everyone's waiting to see us off. It's honeymoon time. Sally and the others couldn't help but laugh at Bunny's eagerness. Sally could definitely relate, as she too had been waiting over a year for this to finally happen. And so the line of well-wishers formed, each animal in attendance congratulating the brides and grooms. It took well over an hour for the line to near the end, and though they were tired, they all knew it was worth it. At the end of the line was King Maximilian Acorn and Nagus. It's time for us to go, your majesties, Nagus said, bowing to both her and Sonic, but we will not be gone forever.
I hope you'll be both here for the births of our children,
Sally smiled. Births? Sonic asked, peeling visibly. Sally gave Sonic a playful nudge and smiled instantly at him. What? You expected only one child? Everyone there gave a hearty chuckle, and then made way for the couples to leave.
Excuse me,
A strange voice said, causing them all to turn back. I do wish to give my congratulations to the newlyweds. Sally regarded the robed figure in front of her cautiously. She was not sure who had seen him at the party until this moment. Him? She wasn't even sure of that. The figure's face was lost in the hood of its robe, a voice an unusual mixture of both male and female that left her feeling really weird. She saw the same expression on Sonic's faces, but the voices of the four others were much different. Their expressions could be best described as a mix of shock to believe and odd. Thank you, Sally said, forcing a smile as she offered her hand. The white-robed figure took her hand and kissed the back of it softly. Sally felt a subtle warmth rushing through her body, centering just slightly below her stomach. She laid her hand over the feeling of surprise, saw both Bunny and Rosie do the same as the figure kissed each of their hands in turn. May your lives be filled with all the happiness the world Mobius has to offer, the figure said to them all. Everything okay, Sal? Sonic asked. Yeah, I guess, Sally said, turning to Sonic. She turned back to the robed figure. It was gone. Where did he go? Funny. I thought it was a she, Sonic admitted. But to be honest, I couldn't really tell. Sally shrugged it off, but the feeling wouldn't leave her. She wanted to ask Rosie about it, but something stopped her. It wasn't anything she could describe, but somehow she knew that whatever had happened was something wonderful. It shouldn't be explained. Loud roaring sounded in the forest just outside the city. Most of the Mobians were shocked, and more few were scared. But the three married couples just walked outside as they expected. 3 dragons stood there. 2 were red-clad and dressed in blue armor. They stood proud and tall. Their bearing reminded Sally a little more of Antoine's. The third was platinum-scaled, the same color that he used to have when he had fur instead of scales.
Congratulations,
Roar said with a toothy grin. Thanks, Roach, Sonic said. Then I glare from the 2 other dragons. What's with them? Rotor chuckled deep in his throat.
They're my royal guards, he explained. The other dragons won't let me out of their sight unless at least 2 of them accompany me. They're strugglers about proper form, even more than Antoine.
Is that being impossible? Antoine asked before anyone else could. Well, I think you better stand down in front of the King of Mobius, Sonic said with just a hint of a smile. The 2 dragons looked surprised, then shocked, then meekly turned their heads away.
Let's get going,
Rotor said, lowering his head so that Sally and Sonic could climb aboard. He gestured to the other dragons, and then he did the same for Bunny and Antoine, and Tannis and Rosie. With a loud roar, Rotor took to the skies of the guards flanking him. Was that really necessary? Sally asked, holding her ears. Even though they couldn't see his face, Sally and Sonic could tell Rotor had a sheepish grin.
I'm sorry, but lately when I take off, I can't help but roar. Must be something Bahamut used to do. I'm still getting trouble getting used to the fact that I'm a king.
I could definitely sympathize, Sonic muttered, looking at the forest below them. You'll do fine, Sally said. Sonic looked over at her, wondering who she was talking to. From the expression on her face, it could have been himself, Rudder, or even both.
Well, we're here,
Rudder said, beginning a slow descent.
of all the places you could go for your honeymoons, why did you choose here?
Sonic Sally smiled and held hands. Everything started here, Rudder, Sonic said. It's only right that our lives together start here, too. Rudder chuckled as he touched down for a perfect landing, with his 2 bodyguards right next to him.
Take care,
He said as he slid off.
Do you want us to come back for you in 2 weeks? Or are you going to go back to Mobitropolis the more conventional way?
We'll handle it, Rudder, Sally said. You just get comfortable with your new position, and keep an eye on Dulcie. I expect to know the moment your baby hatches.
Wouldn't have it any other way.
Rudder said with a smile, looked around and nodded with the other 2 dragons and sent their passengers down. With another roar, he took to the skies, leaving his 2 bodyguards to catch up. The 6 looked around at the place that they had chosen for their honeymoons, a place that had been shelter to most of them for 13 long years, a place that would soothe the horrors of war, a place that was their home. Not home. We're home, Bunny whispered. Everyone, including Tannis, nodded. Though Mobitropolis and the rest of Mobius had been restored,
This would be the only place they would all truly call home. They looked for each other for a moment. They walked in 3 separate directions. Candles flickered briefly in the twilight, but faded as night fell. Under light of the full moon, 3 newlywed couples all finally knew the joy they had been forced to keep from themselves for so long. The next morning, woo! The sun illuminated Queen Sally's face as it rose over knothole. She blinked over her eyes sleepily and stretched. As she stretched, she felt Silas's arms pull her closer to him. Sally smiled and relaxed for a moment. Part of her wanting nothing more than to lay there in the arms of her king, or perhaps even restarting their activity from the previous night. But another part was telling her to get up and go outside. Sally slipped out the door of the bed and pulled out a robe that hung on one of the bedposts. She walked to the door and opened it, and walked outside. She reveled in the early morning sunlight, feeling more alive than she ever had. Without consciously being aware of it, she went straight into the stair knothole, where 2 other robed figures were waiting. Not a word was spoken as the 3 ladies looked at each other. They held each other's hands and smiled, tears in their eyes. They stood there quietly, as each of their beloved hugs around each other placed a soft kiss on their cheek. They all knew that whatever happened, this was the moment they would most remember all their lives. This was not an end, but merely a new beginning. And that's the end of this story. You know, I find it kind of funny when I think about how, as I mature as a reader and as a writer, my love of the story changes. When I was younger, I just liked it because, hey, they finally had Supersonic on it! And as I went to 13, I decided to blatantly steal from it, as you guys have seen with Race for the Emeralds. And when they talked to me about it, even though I had asked, I yelled at them for it, even though I should have probably waited before jumping the gun. That was my mistake. And then as I read more, I started to hate it because, oh look, they have all these OCs and all these extra characters. I just want Sonic, darn it. I just want to read only Sonic and only Sonic, that's it. That's nothing else. I do not care about any of these other characters. And I held on to that for so long. But as I read Ponyfix and matured as a writer and a reader, that hatred started to dissipate, and I began to appreciate some of the stories more. Don't know what it is. Maybe it's the fact that after dealing with some really bad Gary Stews and seeing what it was like to really write a bad Gary Stew, you all know what's coming. Ding! Starfleet is magic! Oh, Mike, you are truly the epitome of all things wrong. I began to appreciate some of these characters as OCs. Donovan was not. I used to think Dorian was perfect OC and he overpowered all the other characters. No. His beatdown of Sonic was logical. And far better than just saying, how are we going to have a guy that manages to fight Sonic? Let's put a random black hedgehog that has red quills and say that he's as fast as Sonic. Yeah, that'll work. How are we going to do it again? Solar Hedgehog! Yeah! And then keep throwing in character after character that seem to be just as fast as Sonic. Without any real reasoning. But here, it happens, because the character was smart. Oh, I don't want Dorian or Donovan, but I see Dorian has developed and it's got some really good emotions. Lydia and Isabella show that they have some real heart behind them. Again, I feel like this is something I have to blame the Brony community for. Yeah, all of you. Thank you. Because, as you all know, if I had been 13 when reading the Ponyfix, I would not love the universe. I would not be reading stories that feature Lyra and Bon Bon, or Colgate, or
Meaning what? Okay, they're the same, but or Doctor Who's, or reading stories that were about Big Mac, or all that. I wouldn't ignore them. Or just plain dismiss them as being trash. But reading Ponyfix has got me really to appreciate all the other characters, all the other wonderful side characters, to the point where I look at Fall Starfleet and I realize that, yeah, I've also been devoting time to the Umbrella Circle besides just the main six. While the main six are still the mains and still the big characters that we are meant to be watching, I've also been devoting time to all the other side characters, growing them. Which is why I appreciate this fic all the more now. Because we see some of the conclusions of some of the characters' developments. We see that, I mean, you guys might not appreciate this much, but we see that Donovan has truly grown into his own. Dorian has become far more open. Tails has become more mature. Families are reunited. And while I wish he would have described some of the wedding dresses and the scene changes are still whiplash, there's still a lot of heart and emotion to this story. And it still feels like it came to an ending of a long journey. A journey that was full of heart and wisdom. A lot of characters being developed and grown. And that's why I say, in the end, in spite of Ken Pender's laughing his ass off down at us, and I say F him to shreds. Seriously. Just flip you, Penders, really. You're the main cause of this. You stabbed Ben Hurst in the back. You took away our characters, and you ruined the comics for a lot of us. Thanks a lot. But in the end, in Archie, because it focused so much on Riverdale and Sega. But in the end, we fans are going to have the last laugh. Why? Because here's the truth. No matter what happens next, no matter what may come our way, things are going to happen. The fan artists. You guys are still going to draw fan art of Sonic and Sally, of Bunny and Antoine, of Foxy Nicole and Scourge and Mighty and Hershey and Jeffrey St. John. You fanfic writers, you're going to probably complete your own stories and say this is what happened in the next series, or this is what's going to happen later. And who knows? Maybe Sega might be nice and decide to actually bring in Sally and the others to their own world. Or maybe IDW might do the same. And Sega will also have the last laugh on Ken Penders. But if not, we will still do that. Because that's the way it's going to work. You guys are still going to write. You're still going to show these stories. I'm still going to go on forums. Because that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, the comics are ended. But I'm not about to let that stop me from plugging in my DVD of Sonic Satam, or rereading these fics and bringing them to you, or even writing my own stories. When I get Sonic Forces, I'm going to bring in my own Sonic. I'm going to still bring in the nerd guy, or the fun Sonic, and I'm just going to have fun doing that. I'm going to find a way to mix that with my universe. I'm going to have fun bringing in Sonic and having him have adventures. I'm still going to tell a story with Sally and Bunny and Antoine and all in it. Because I'm that much of a Satam fan. I'm still going to look up fan art. I'm still going to look at ways to tell stories. And who knows? Maybe one day. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll start from the beginning of Francis and Robert's saga. It's been a whole year reading back up to Armageddon and giving you guys the full-on adventure. That was one down. Thousands more to go. I'll see you all next time. And don't forget, fans, you are in charge of your own story.